Welcome to everyone who's joining us for another week of the RedX podcast. This week, we have with us special guest Kash-Wayne Campbell. Kash-Wayne is a real estate entrepreneur, a team leader, and a coach known for building and scaling high-performing real estate teams. He's helped grow organizations over 150 agents and supported hundreds of transactions annually. Originally from Jamaica and raised in New York, Kash-Wayne transitioned from a successful career in event promotion into real estate, where he quickly found his passion for agent development and business growth. Today, he focuses on helping agents build scalable, system-driven businesses and achieve consistent, predictable success. Thank you so much for joining us today, Kash.
Absolutely. So I'm excited to be here with the RedX podcast again. I guess, we shared some really great information before to be invited back. So I'm always excited to have the conversation with you guys. And again, if those of you who don't know who I am, Kash-Wayne Campbell, I am the broker owner here at Landmark Elite Homes. Right now, we are currently scaling. We have over 60 agents at this point, and we're just continuing to build and looking to share some positive information here today.
I'd love to know for you, what was a turning point that led you from an event promotion into real estate?
That's an amazing question. What really led to the transition is that I started to realize that my audience in the entertainment industry grew with me, where I started off doing teen jams, and from teen jams, I went on to doing 18 and over events. But then I started to realize after a while, people just don't want to keep partying. They're going to start wanting, people were settling down. They were creating families. So I said, you know what, maybe it's time for me to pivot out of this industry and into something like real estate. I had a friend of mine at the time who was doing real estate, and he said, man, listen, it's just the same. It's like the same thing you're doing in party promotion, but except you're just promoting a house. So just look at it just the same way. You just market it, get the word out, let people know. And a lot of those techniques from the party promotion industry came right into real estate with me. A lot of the techniques that I've learned there. So, my pivot at that point was just, I needed a career change. And a friend of mine just really invited me into the industry, and I saw the comparison there between the two.
Early on in your career, I imagine that transition must not have been too easy. I mean, obviously you're successful, so you figured it out, but I'd love to know what challenges you faced that helped shape how you operate today.
Well, my challenges in the beginning is that I didn't have any clients, right? So no matter what my audience was in the entertainment industry, when I came to real estate, it was a new world. It's kind of like moving from another country to the United States. You're starting over. So I was initially starting over, and I had to start to create a client base. And the way I did that was I did it the only way I knew how. I started to, I had a flyer created. I went on Fiverr, which if some of you may know it, some of you may not. It's a freelance website where you can get flyers created for $5. So I went on Fiverr and I got a flyer created for $5, my name, the brokerage's name, and I posted that flyer in every Facebook group I possibly could. I did what I knew best. I didn't know really how to generate leads, but I realized that was a great move in the beginning because I generated one lead. I remember the young lady, she called me on a Friday night. She inherited a property and she needed to rent it immediately. And she called me, and that was my first lead through a Facebook group by posting this flyer everywhere. But the number one struggle I faced in the beginning, like many agents, is really how to generate leads and how to find people to speak to.
And how did your background influence the way you approach leadership and team building?
Well, the way I approach leadership and team building today, with my background, I remember when I work in the entertainment industry, one of the things that we would have to do is have what we call sub-promoters. And sub-promoters were individuals that we would hire to get the word out. They weren't the main person, but they would they were just hired to get their friends and family through the door, right? So in real estate today, a lot of the motivation that I used to do with those individuals that we brought on, as far as to help us get the word out, it's the same thing I do with the agents today. We have a product, which is a home, and we need to get as many eyes on this property as we possibly can. We need to do as social media, do videos, as much people as we can get to get the word out there. Call, do some circle prospecting. We need to let as many people know as we can. So I think having that background as far as promotion and marketing, I think that really helped in this business. And I feel that's where a lot of people struggle, is really how to market themselves and get themselves out there. But with that background, I feel it helped me, and I'm able to train the agents to duplicate the exact same thing.
From the agents you've worked with, what separates agents who are able to figure it out from those who stay stuck?
That's an amazing question. I was just speaking to my wife about this before. What do we run the business together, and a question that we always ask ourselves is, what do we feel? Is there a particular formula to a top producer versus someone who's not producing? And based on my experience in this business, I've really nailed it. I feel the people who come in with blind motivation as a new agent, like I didn't have any preconceived notions. I wasn't doing this for 10 years where I went out there and it didn't work. I just did whatever I was told to do. I think those are the people who end up doing well. You tell them to go and door knock 50 homes, they're just going to go out there with blind motivation and go and door knock 50 homes. If you tell them to make 100 calls, they're just going to go make 100 calls, no questions asked. The people who struggle in this business is when they hear to go make 100 calls. That sounds difficult. I can't walk for that long, right? The excuses, the people with the excuses tend not to do well. But I find the producers have blind motivation. They just want to get to the goal, the result, and they're willing to do whatever it is to get there. And obviously, legally and ethically. Let's put it that way.
Of course, yes.
Disclaimer, right?
I love that phrase, blind motivation. So for agents who want to start building productive businesses and are ready to put in that energy, where should they focus first?
Well, I feel like individuals should focus on starting off building from in. What we teach the agents here is to start from within, then build out. So we're starting off with our core circle as far as our sphere of influence, people who know us, trust us already. We're starting there because we're warming up with the code, as far as calling. And agents, it's less rejection because it's your warm market. They already know you by name. And then as they start to get warm there, as far as speaking to friends and family, then we move to the cold market. I usually start off with the geo leads, right? Where you're circle prospecting, where individuals are receiving a call from you, they're a little bit more warm. And then we move to the expireds who might have gotten 500, no, I'm joking, not 500 calls, who might have gotten 20 calls today because your home came up as an MLS. Your home came up on MLS as an expired listing. So it's a process, the way we start the agents off. But I feel starting off from within and then working out is important. So that's where I would tell the agent to start. Start with the warm, and then we move into the cold.
I really love that. And in addition to that, what are some daily or weekly habits that you've seen consistently among top performing agents?
Well, I have, for instance, I have 2 agents in my office right now. They do about 45 to 50 deals a year between 2 states, New York and Connecticut. And one of the things I see that they do is they consistently focus on appointments. Okay. This is where I feel a lot of agents fall short, right? Appointments is what we call money making task. Okay. 20% of your time is going to yield 80% of the results. So you need to identify where the 20% of your time needs to go to yield the 80% of the results. These agents, they focus primarily on coming into the office. When they come into the office, as they're making calls, they're setting appointments. By the evening, or let's say it's the weekend, they're out on as many appointments as they possibly can go on. So I'd say the top producers, one of the major things that they focus on is always being out on appointments, showing. When they're going on listing appointments, they're calling. But as they're calling with the result in mind, such as an appointment. So I would say the number one thing is stay out there on appointments.
I love that.
Yes.
Although I know that can be hard. It can be hard, especially if you're not feeling that blind motivation in the moment.
Yes. It can be difficult, but the reality is pressure busts pipes, right? The pressure creates diamonds. Okay, let's put it that way. Pressure creates diamonds. So you have to put yourself in an uncomfortable position in order to get to a comfortable position. Okay, so I would say for the agents out there, make the calls. As you're making the calls, be results driven. As you make a call, find out when the client is available so you can actually meet with them. That way, you'll start seeing your Google Calendar just booked out.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. Or another thing we push here, open houses. I was having a meeting with the agents here on Monday, and I told them you should not be off on the weekends watching Netflix or your favorite show. If you have no showings, we have automatic showings. The automatic showing is hosting an open house Saturday and hosting an open house Sunday. No agent should be they should not have, let's say you just have a free weekend. As a real estate agent, there is something you can do. If someone else is doing the open house, you can go out and door knock the neighborhood to let them know there is an open house down the street. So there is always something to do to stay busy, especially new agents. New agents sometimes, say that there's nothing to do, but there is always something to do.
Along those lines, what are some of the biggest mistakes agents make when they're trying to scale or build a team?
Some of the biggest mistakes I see agents do, the number one mistake that agents do is trying to recruit someone to do something you've never done yourself. That's the number one mistake, because if everyone's confused, then nothing gets done, right? Because I have agents who I coach who they've closed a couple of deals. Now they want to hire an assistant. Okay. They've never cold called before, but I want to hire an assistant to help me with cold calling, right? Or whatever the case might be. So now there's no way to train the person because you haven't done it yourself. So even rebuttals and things that this person might be facing, you can't help them because you haven't necessarily done it yourself. So the biggest thing I would tell agents is if you're hiring, and scaling your business, you want to make sure anything you hire someone to do, you've already done it yourself. So whatever situation that agent might be going through, you can actually help them through the process. And it's the same thing with real estate brokers. I see brokers starting brokerages that have never ran a team. So now we have entire brokerages that are stuck because the broker doesn't have the knowledge to get the agents to the next level. So I think the biggest thing here is really, as you are growing, make sure you're learning in the business as well.
And what are a few key details that you do or help your agents to help them create consistency in their income and production?
Yes. So one of the things that we've done here, as far as creating consistency in income and production, we have, we have training. So one training that we're doing right now is the 12-week boot camp, where I have a 12-week program where we help agents to become profitable within their first 90 days. So in the brokerage, it's not just, hey, go do this. We actually have a set programs that agents attend, and they can actually learn the business in 12 weeks. Or if they're already producing, they can kind of scale their business even more within that time frame. So that's something that we do here at the brokerage. We hone in on the agents and just try to develop training programs around where agents are.
And what systems or processes are absolutely essential for their growth?
All right. So one system that I'd say agents really need is a good CRM. Okay. I see a lot of agents running their business off the top of their head, which can be an issue. If you have 4 or 5 or even 10 clients that you're working with, it is very difficult to remember what you spoke to each client about. So one thing I learned in the beginning is that your CRM, you need a CRM. Google Sheets is great, but you need a good CRM. They have so much amazing CRMs out there. Another thing is follow-up is crucial, right? And also CRM helps with that. The money is in the follow-up. For instance, our agents use the RedX every day. I go in there and I see what, I see that I can look into an agent's account and I see what they're doing. And if they have a bunch of clients that they're calling, if they're not necessarily going on appointments, the number one reason is because they're not following up. So I think CRM and follow-up is really important, and also time blocking. Okay. And I know how challenging this can be. A lot of the agents out there have families, you have things going on, life gets in the way, but you have to make sure you use something like Google Calendar and block out time for your actual prospecting. If you're going to call RedX leads, I set aside 2 hours where I'm calling RedX leads, and then, have my follow-up time as well.
Could you dive more into how agents should approach lead generation and follow-up systems in today's market?
Yeah. So in today's market, right, the main thing is, again, following up, and then make sure when the person tells you to call them at a specific time, you are actually calling them at that time, right? There's a lot of opportunities that's missed because we missed the time to call the person back. See, a lot of agents don't have a lead problem. They have a follow-up, which leads to a conversion problem, right? So it's two things there. So if you're calling to convert, if you're calling and then you want to convert the lead, what's important is that you're calling them at the exact time they tell you to call, or if they didn't tell you to call, you're following up within a reasonable amount of time. If I called someone, let's say right now, and they're telling me they want to sell in June, because the kids are going away, when the kids go away to school, I am following up from now until June. I don't have to follow up every week, but at least, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, I am following up, and I'm keeping track of milestones. That's a big thing that agents miss. If the client already told you what their motivation is, I am following up and I'm asking about, how's little Johnny doing? Well, you know what? He's just signed up he's playing basketball. He's away right now. Okay, great. It was great. We have our conversation. And next time I call, I want to know how Johnny did on that game how did he do at that game upstate the last time we spoke, right? So you're keeping the communication to the motivation based on what the client told you, till I call in June and they say, hey, you know what? Little Johnny has graduated, and I appreciate you continuing to follow up. Now you finally get the appointment. Because sometimes when we call listings as agents, we feel the appointment is right away. The conversion happens in the process.
Yes, I love that. I've always said following up or reaching out without following up is a lot like buying tickets to go see your favorite artist in concert and then not going. It's
Yes.
so important.
Yes. So I hope I wasn't long-winded with that, but that's
No.
crucial because I stress that with our agents is, when you're doing that conversion, the conversion is it has to be done. It's a human process, right? When you call, if the client already gave you the motivation, why not ask about their child? It's important to them because they've already told you that they can't sell unless little Johnny goes to college. Right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, go ahead.
I'd love to know, how do you see the real estate industry evolving over the next few years?
Well, what I see right now is AI. We're in the AI revolution. Artificial intelligence is taking over. And a lot of agents feel so nervous. Is AI going to just come in and just start showing houses? I just don't see that being possible. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't see an AI negotiating between buyer and seller. I just don't see that happening. But the way you can use AI right now is using things like Gemini, right? Gemini is going to be such a big player in content moving forward because it's owned by YouTube. And what's going to happen is YouTube is going to use a lot of your content when people request search inquiries like ChatGPT. Hey, ChatGPT, how to do this? They're going to actually be using your YouTube videos, from what I see, as content in Gemini to respond to others' questions. So YouTube and YouTube Shorts, I think right now, as far as content and things like that, is going to play a huge part in how we get clients. Right now, I think also real estate agents should be utilizing AI and social media. At least 40% of your time should at least go into creating content that generates leads. So AI, social media. What's another thing that I think is going to really be shaping the industry right now? Let's see. Virtual brokerages. Virtual real estate brokerages, I think, is going to be big. A lot of people working from home, right? Not many people in the office anymore. So brokers, if you're watching, it is time to start creating that digital footprint at this point. Unless, if you don't change with the times, we tend to fade out. Also, there's another platform that's on the rise, Substack. If you guys aren't using that as of yet, Substack is a email subscription social media platform. It's a new platform that just came out where agents can actually write articles and you can be picked up by the search engines, and individuals can actually subscribe to your newsletter right on Substack. I just joined the other day. I uploaded my podcast, over 57 episodes right there where I can start generating leads right away. So that's a new platform that just came out if you guys want to check that out. But that's where I see the industry going. I can go on and on with that.
I love that. I'd actually love to ask, I feel like AI is a really hot button topic. A lot of people are interested and some people don't know where to start. From your experience, if agents haven't really dabbled much with AI other than maybe like copy and pasting an email in and asking it to help it rewrite or something like that, where would you recommend agents start to learn, explore, and use AI?
Well, the first is ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT is an amazing AI platform, artificial intelligence, great with responses. A lot of people use it. It's really advanced. So if you want to get started with that, you can use ChatGPT to even create graphics if you have the $20 plan. So if you're stuck and you need some quick graphics, you can use ChatGPT to do that. MLS descriptions. If you need to create, I've even used ChatGPT to create my schedule. I gave it my scenario and ChatGPT creates my schedule. So there's a lot that you can do with ChatGPT. There's also Claude. So if you're looking to do more in-depth copywriting, you can use a platform called Claude. It is ChatGPT's competition. And one of my personal favorites is Gemini. It is also ChatGPT's competition. Gemini is directly connected to YouTube. So if you're trying to create content, you can use Gemini, and Gemini can give you titles and topics directly from YouTube that people are searching. Another platform which is huge right now is Opus Clip. Opus Clip is a platform where, let's just say we did how we're doing this video here. Opus Clip can actually take this long form content and cut it up into shorter clips that you can share on all of your platforms. Okay, so I just gave you a few. There's a lot more. As far as with artificial intelligence, Canva has also added artificial intelligence. So those of you who may not be able to afford a real estate photographer for your listings, you can take pictures of your listing, and Canva has an AI tool that will actually polish the picture and make it look really professional. So that's another one that you can utilize.
I love that. What trends should agents be paying attention to right now, in addition to the AI wave and social media?
The trends right now, I would say one of the biggest trends is communities. Okay, communities are big. I have two communities, the Get Cash Academy, which is one. I also have the 100K System Commission community. This is on school. So what you can actually do is to start to build a community as far as your sphere, people who know you, love you, and they follow you, your past clients, creating a community just for those individuals. A place like Substack is amazing for that because you can send out your monthly newsletter directly through Substack. And the amazing thing about that is that when you use Substack, it goes directly through to their email as a newsletter. So right now, I think one of the most underdeveloped areas, even for real estate agents, is building community. You know, really nurturing your past clients, getting birthdays, closing anniversaries, and really honing in on that and making sure that you're remembering those dates. You can do that through your CRM, and then you can also have a community where you're sharing valuable information. Like I'm a part of the RedX Facebook community, but it's something RedX is doing as a community to build their loyal followers. And you can actually do that as a real estate agent, is really start to build a community with your loyal customers.
And in the future, what will separate top producers from the rest moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think in the future, what will separate top producers is really, I would say that the blind motivation is really top producers. And I always lead with that. Top producers are just willing to try. Like when I do my trainings and I do my coaching, right? The top producers, like I did a coaching session and it was so amazing. The top producers were in the room and they're not saying anything, but they're taking it in, and they say nothing. And then after the training, I reach out to them and they've already implemented everything I said. So like I did a training and they were listening. I said, you guys have to start doing webinars on a monthly basis, home buyer webinars. Let's generate leads. We have an 85% chance of generating high quality leads if we start doing home buyer seminars and webinars and workshops. The agents, the top producers, they've got flyers together already. they're already marketing. They have people confirmed. So it's things like that where I think top producers are separated from the pack, is that they would hear something and they're already implementing it in their business. And that's what I see in my office.
I love that. Before we wrap up, I'd love to know, is there anything I didn't ask you that you think our listeners should know or start paying more attention to?
Well, I think one of the biggest things that's happening right now in the time of this recording, I was reading an article yesterday that foreclosures are up by 40% right now. Yeah, I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, foreclosures are up by 40%. To the average person, it will be scary, right? Because hearing about all these foreclosures that's happening. But I think, we have to look at the positive in everything. I feel like as real estate agents, there's a lot of people for us to help, even in the distressed market right now. A lot of you are focused primarily on, yes, the regular retail market, but even with the leads that RedX provides, the pre-foreclosure leads, I think there's an opportunity there now for you guys to really start reaching out and providing your service to individuals who might be in a pre-foreclosure situation to see if you can actually help. A lot of the agents right now are only focused on expireds, FSBOs, and etc. But they're not seeing the bigger picture right now. So that's what I read yesterday. I didn't get nervous. I read there's an opportunity there in the distressed market, which is what I told my agents. So it's a great time to, really start learning about pre-foreclosures, how they actually work, and see who we can actually help out there.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. We may have to have you back someday to talk about pre-foreclosures.
Yes, I actually have a course on Udemy, which sells very well. I've created that course for Udemy. It's actually on pre-foreclosure. So I'm very knowledgeable on the subject. If you ever, just let me know, and I'm willing to come back to talk about that as well.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much. I know you mentioned that you're on the RedX prospecting community. That's the RedX Facebook group for those of you that don't know. But if any of our listeners want to connect with you, want to reach out, what would be the best way to do that?
Yes. So to do that, I'm on YouTube. It is my name here, Kash-Wayne Campbell, on the YouTube platform. That's my biggest platform, over 15,000 followers. I share a lot of information. I have RedX videos if you guys want to learn how to use the geo leads. I have step-by-step videos on there. MLS, whatever you want to learn, just jump on there, check it out. Also on Instagram, Get Cash with Cash. And those of you who would like to join my community, I have the 100K commission system community, and that's on the school platform. So it's a 100K commission community. If you want, you can just go to the Get Cash with Cash on Instagram, and it's in my bio. You just join the community. I share a lot of value there on a daily basis. And you can see me in the RedX community as well, too.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Cash. And thank you so much to everybody listening. We hope to see y'all next week.
Yes. All right.